In just 9 minutes, this video summarizes the 1.5-hour-long Jubilee podcast titled Tradwives versus Feminists. In this in-depth discussion between 8 women from either side, wide range of topics are discussed, from the biological differences and gender roles to abortion and reproductive rights. Now let's talk about the key takeaways from the podcast. Takeaway 1. Diverse interpretations of feminism. The conversation explores how feminism has evolved through different waves, with some participants advocating for the first wave's focus on securing basic rights, like voting and property ownership, while others criticize later waves for potentially pushing women away from homemaking roles. There's a debate on whether true feminism supports all choices for women, or if it has become prescriptive, with some arguing that feminism should not dismantle family structures, but rather ensure women's autonomy within or outside them. The podcast touches on intersectionality, suggesting feminism should be inclusive of all women's experiences, not just those of white, middle-class backgrounds. The tension between personal choice and feminist ideology is highlighted, with some feeling that modern feminism can sometimes limit rather than broaden options. Empowerment is seen differently, with some finding it in traditional roles under the umbrella of feminism, while others see it in breaking from traditional expectations. Takeaway 2. Role of religion in marriage and family. The discussion is deeply influenced by Christian perspectives, where participants argue that marriage should reflect biblical roles, with wives submitting to husbands as an act of obedience to God, not as subservience. Divorce is heavily critiqued, with a strong advocacy for marital commitment even in difficult circumstances based on religious convictions. The morality of sexual conduct is debated, with promiscuity seen as contrary to Christian teachings. The role of the Church in providing support for women, particularly in cases of marital dissolution, is highlighted as a positive aspect of religious community. The idea of a natural or divine order for family roles is also discussed, suggesting that adhering to these roles can lead to a harmonious society. Takeaway 3. Biological differences and gender roles. There's a significant debate on whether biology dictates gender roles, with some participants arguing that men are naturally suited for leadership and protection roles due to physical strength and hormonal differences, while women are seen as nurturers. This biological determinism is contrasted with arguments that societal roles are more constructed than innate, evidenced by women excelling in traditionally male roles like medicine or law. The concept of leadership as service is introduced, suggesting that male leadership in the family should be about serving and loving, not dominating. Cultural variance in gender roles is acknowledged, showing that not all societies enforce such rigid norms as in the West. Some participants find empowerment in embracing these biological roles. Takeaway 4. The impact of feminism on happiness and society. The podcast discusses whether women's happiness has increased with feminism, with some arguing that modern women face more stress due to the dual roles of career and home life. This stress is attributed by some to feminism's push for women to enter the workforce. Conversely, others argue that the freedom to choose one's path, whether in career or homemaking, has led to greater personal fulfillment and happiness. Historical contexts like the housewife syndrome are brought into contrast, questioning if past happiness was due to fewer choices or genuine contentment. The impact of feminism on mental health, including the potential over-medication of women, is also debated. Takeaway 5. Abortion and reproductive rights. Abortion is a polarizing topic, with some participants holding strong moral objections, viewing it as inherently wrong, while others argue for its necessity in cases where the mother's life or health is at risk or in situations of assault. The medical implications, including the risks of childbirth versus abortion, are debated, with some questioning the validity of medical emergencies justifying abortion. The feminist advocacy for abortion rights is seen as crucial for women's safety and autonomy, particularly in oppressive or dangerous circumstances. Alternatives like adoption are discussed as moral solutions, with calls for more societal support for women in crisis.
If you are enjoying this video, please leave a like below and share this video in your WhatsApp groups. You can also discuss about this video by commenting below. To get more such videos in your timeline, press the subscribe button below.
Takeaway 6. Contraception and sexual freedom. Contraception is viewed through contrasting lenses. As a means of liberation by allowing women control over their reproductive choices, or as part of a broader sexual revolution that some see as detrimental to traditional values. The moral implications of sexual freedom are hotly debated, with concerns about how this affects relationships and societal order. There's an acknowledgement of the health benefits of contraception beyond just birth control, like managing conditions such as polycystic ovary syndrome or PCOS. The autonomy over one's body is defended as a critical aspect of women's rights, challenging traditional views on sexual morality. Takeaway 7. Traditional versus modern life choices. The debate centers around whether women should embrace traditional roles as homemakers or pursue careers. Some participants argue that homemaking is a noble and fulfilling role, while others advocate for the freedom to choose without societal pressure. The discussion acknowledges the modern reality where women often manage both career and family, leading to discussions on the support needed for such dual roles. The cultural shift away from traditional norms is critiqued, with some feeling it devalues the role of homemaking. However, the empowerment of having options, supported by education and societal change, is seen as a feminist achievement. Takeaway 8. The concept of shame in society. Shame is discussed as both a social regulator and a potentially oppressive force. Some argue that shame helps guide behavior towards societal norms, particularly in sexual conduct, while others see it as a tool of patriarchal control that should be dismantled to allow for personal freedom. The distinction between self-imposed shame and societal judgment is debated, especially regarding personal lifestyle choices like sexual freedom or career paths. The conversation reflects on whether shame should be linked to moral standards, with a consensus on its use for extreme societal harms like pedophilia, but not for consensual adult choices. Takeaway 9. Legal and social structures. The evolution of legal systems to include no-fault divorce is viewed both as a feminist victory for giving women an exit from abusive or unfulfilling marriages, and as a contributor to the breakdown of family structures. The historical patriarchal legal framework is critiqued, which often placed women at a disadvantage. The importance of community, especially in religious contexts, in supporting women post-divorce or in widowhood is noted. However, contemporary legal and social structures are seen as still not fully supportive of women, particularly with recent changes in reproductive rights laws. Takeaway 10. Personal agency and societal influence. The central theme is the balance between individual freedom and societal expectations. Feminism is seen as advocating for personal agency, where each woman can choose her path, whether traditional or progressive. The notion of empowerment is debated, with some finding it in traditional roles, others in challenging norms. The paradox of freedom through submission is explored, particularly in religious or marital contexts. The podcast also reflects on how societal trends, media, and cultural shifts influence personal decisions, emphasizing that education is key to empowering women by providing them with more life choices beyond traditional roles. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this summary of the Jubilee podcast, titled Tradwives versus Feminists, informative. If you're interested in learning more about these topics, I encourage you to watch the full podcast on YouTube. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like below and share this video in your WhatsApp groups. You can also discuss about this video by commenting below. To get more such videos in your timeline, press the subscribe button below.